Do we have like a say?
Welcome to the Burning Yammer. Right here, right now, we are a Japanese sort of retrospective podcast about a whole bunch of mainly women getting beaten horribly.
Yeah, because we're into that. That's what we like. Is women
No.
getting beaten up.
No.
This is a woman beater podcast.
Oh no.
We just lost half our audience. Actually, we probably gained a whole new audience.
No, we
so
honestly just gained like a whole bunch.
All the Joe Rogan people switched over to here. So
a ton of the WWE like 56 to 78-year-old demographic just signed in. They were just like, "Oh, really?"
Oh, you mean the stand up for WWE people who can't stand up? It's like more of a suggestion. They want you to do it because they can't.
Pretty soon on WWE like advertising, we're just going to see like, divorce advertisements, some dick pills. It's going to be nothing like used to.
Have you heard about purchasing gold, Anthony? Have you heard it's a good idea to purchase gold? How about reverse mortgages?
It never depreciates in value. And reverse mortgages, why are you going to leave your terrible, shitty millennial kids? They're just going to sell your house and buy avocado toast.
Exactly.
Hi, I'm Dan Lambert.
Well, my name's Bert. This is Dan Lambert, and we're...
I'm telling you, this is the worst town I've ever been in.
Boo. It's so funny because Dan Lambert just says, "You know what? Boo!" He can't even get into it. He could be about to say the nicest thing in the world, and you'd never know because the crowd is
never know.
Boo.
I just kissed 3 babies outside.
You know what sucks? Ronald Reagan. Boo. We love Ronald Reagan now. Boo. I'm Bert. This is Anthony. I introduced Anthony for him because we don't want you thinking he's Dan Lambert. And
absolutely not.
This, it's hard to tell you apart. This week, we went back to Joshi, AJW, PW, Classics 38.
Oh boy.
2 different. You don't sound happy about that. I'm pretty honestly. It's half and half. About we'll get into
I have made some discoveries about myself this episode, and I am very excited to share them.
Parental advisory. So this now what the main realization I had with this episode, which is not really a review, is the fact that we're going to need to do Joshi every few episodes at least, if not every 10 or so episodes, because we jumped straight to March and then to May in this show. So it's going to be more periodic, most likely, because the men's shows are like week to week. So it'll take us, if we're trying to go at the same time, it'll take us a little while to catch up.
Yeah, there was definitely some discrepancies in this show.
Yes.
Like, timeline-wise, and I think that just goes to show, like, the managerial care that was, like... Because you can go back to, All Japan Men's Wrestling, and there is, like, a carefully curated list of matches and lineages and a whole bunch of stuff that, like, you can point to in, like, a documentarian sense and be like, okay, this happened then, and this is a fucking mess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as far as timeline goes, like, when is this happening? Why do we have matches from the same people on this in different configurations? It's wild. And...
yeah.
I thought we would have to wait a little bit before we started talking about some of the stuff that comes up in the show later, but let's
activate. Done. I'm back. Hello. Okay. The show. Right.
Yeah.
So,
We got to clap again?
no, we're not starting over. I'll fix it in post, and by that I mean I'll leave it all in.
We'll do it live. Hey, we're live, pal.
The show started.
Yeah.
This is AJW PW Classics 38. It starts
Mm-hmm.
March 18th, 1990, from Korakuen Hall. Korakuen Hall. I think it's just Korakuen Hall.
Yeah, it's just Korakuen.
And now, first of all, before the show really started, we get clips at the beginning, and we get a zoom in on Aja Kong's face. And I'm like, oh, cool. Aja Kong, she looks cool. And then immediately, it's her and Madusa smacking each other with hilarious boxing gloves. And I was like, oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, it seems wacky at first, but then...
We'll get into it later.
But
yes. But yes, I was like, oh, it's that kind of show. But immediately, the first match is a tag team match with Yumika Hota and Mitsuko Nishiwaki versus Bull Nakano and Bison Kimura. The only person who hasn't been on our previous Joshi episode is Bison. And hey, she didn't work that much. So I didn't find out that much about Bison Kimura other than she seems all right. If you know something about her other than that she's Bison Kimura.
Not at this moment. Like, I'm gonna start doing like some deep dives into these people because
shit, that's right. We were supposed to research people. I forgot.
Oh yeah, fuck.
Well, already breaking our promises to our listeners. That's okay.
Well, just like wrestling has done for the past 30 years, we will build something up and then just end it with no fanfare and no recognition. We'll never talk of it again.
Tune in next week for Sasha Banks versus Becky. That'll definitely happen on our show. Definitely. Whoops.
Without a cubic centimeter of skin showing in the Saudi Arabia show.
Yes. So the match starts. The heels immediately throw the heels are Bull Nakano and Bison Kimura. So spoilers in case you couldn't figure that out. Nishiwaki faced Bull in the main event of our last show. She's the one who got all the blood.
I mean, really impressed me, so I was looking forward to this. And
Hota is like, I would call her Joshi Daniel Bryan. She just kicks the shit out of people. And she's got the big kick pads, and she looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But the heels immediately throw them outside, and I was actually super into this because, like, they throw them on the outside, and all the little girls go, and then they like just run into the crowd, and it's so funny because you could see all the fans just run away at top speed. They don't want to be anywhere near it. They're like, I don't want to be anywhere near Bull Nakano or Bison Kimura. No, thank you. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Which is so funny because like these days you see like Moxley start beating up some dude, and then some dude in the crowd will try to like hit somebody or like get in on it. And like, fuck off, get out of here. And in this show,
he comes over and like tries to hug John Moxley like an old friend.
Hugging is, I mean, you still probably shouldn't. Like, you can put out your hand, high five, and if they don't, whatever. But like, I don't remember who it was. It was the Moxley. I don't remember which match it was. It was a few weeks ago, but somebody just fucking tried to deck the other guy. I mean, it was like he just like tried to punch him, and I'm like, fuck off, dude. You're a fan. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, really, you will get destroyed.
Yeah.
Well, like, this brings up a good point. Like, do you know why the fans are just running?
No.
Like, other than just like, it's an exciting thing and it's fun.
I assume Bull Nakano beats up fans and young boys or something.
Well, so here's the thing. There is a long tradition in Japan starting, probably from the 70s. Most notably done by Bruiser Brody.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you know Brody at all,
Kind of.
but he was billed as an absolute wild man, and for good reason, because like his persona, absolutely nuts, and he came to the ring, no joke, swinging a logging chain.
Hmm.
And I'm not talking like, he kind of carried it behind him. Maybe he swung the end. He would have an 8-foot logging chain and swing it above his head going to the ring
Hmm.
and would hit fans. These were not people part of the show.
Yipes.
And so Stan Hansen would also like come with the bull rope and, the cowbell, and how they avoided like all sorts of litigation for so long, don't know, but
It's all
you
these
can see
collateral
like
damage gimmicks. Trying to think somebody.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and so the thing is, there was just a thing of like, if you are a fan and you are near a wrestler, you are taking your life in your own hands.
It's like that
And
the Terry Funk ladder gimmick, except they just do it in the crowd.
they just spin Terry Funk up like a Beyblade and let him loose in the crowd.
God. So right. Bison throws a chair at Nishiwaki over and over, and they group up in the ring on Hota. So at this point, I was like expecting, because Nishiwaki, they both got thrown outside, and Nishiwaki took a bunch of not chair shots. She just threw the chair at her head over and over and over. So I was expecting it to be like the Nakano match where she just gets color early and is like dead. But nope, she's just on the apron. She's just on the apron 5 seconds later, and I'm like, okay. Nishiwaki gets what I call the reverse hot tag. So this happens a lot apparently in tag matches, and Joshi is like, you work somebody over and you beat the crap out of them, but you can't really pin them. So then you just pull them over the corner and let them tag, and then just beat the crap out of their partner. You're just like, I don't care. I'll beat up both of them. It's kind of weird. There's this. I feel like there's a mentality of like, if you get tagged in, you are on the defensive. You're not. Yeah, like you're getting ready to take a move, because whoever was beating up the other person is ready to kick your ass. They're not like confused or like not ready for the tag. They're totally ready for it, so they'll just whip you. I think that's kind of interesting.
It is. I mean, it's kind of like I have the high ground mentality, because you have to come through the ropes, and so the other person is kind of prepared, and like I get it in like a real sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what All Japan was going for at this time in spades. But like, yeah, as far as building drama, it's kind of fucky, but I'm getting used to it though. Like, I'm just kind of understanding that there isn't hot tags really. I mean, there are a few.
There are, but they're sporadic. And I think there's also, I think it's just a different mentality of like, if you think about it, in America, the hot tag is like, the idea is the opponent technically would have messed up, because not only did they let the person who is getting beat up get to their side of the ring, but also they're not there to cut off, like, because what happens in these matches is the person gets beat up and they struggle to get over there, but the reason they struggle is because their opponent's right fucking on them, beating their ass. So like the minute the tag gets made, they're ready to whoop their ass too. Like they're not like out of position. But in America, the hot tag happens and they're out of position. It's usually like there's a trade-off, like the person that's gonna get the hot tag and the opponent kind of they do a dub spot. The person struggling gets one offensive maneuver that puts them down just long enough to go get the positioning to get it. Stuff like that. It's just different. Whereas I feel like heels in Joshi, they are like they're very powerful. They're put over as like dominating presences. So you don't just like use a move and then they lay on the ground and then you go get a tag and then you get a hot tag. It's like, oh no, like they're on your ass and you have to like
fight your way, like
yeah, you have to
trying to get through
claw
a
your
fishing
way
net.
back from the fucking brink. And actually, there's a lot of that later in the show. This match, not so much, but there is a weird cut here. And there was some cutting
Yeah.
throughout the show. I said maybe a botch somewhere. I don't know. I kind of doubt it. I think it was just cut for time, which is hilarious on this show.
So there's two things happening. Is
Yeah.
one, I think there's a weird cut, and I don't know if you noticed it, but I had to go back and really examine what happened because it hit my brain so weird.
Yes.
But they have a second hard cam.
Yes, that was the other thing. I realized this halfway through the show. So there's two things going on because there are cuts, and you can tell because sometimes just a different person is in the ring, and that's
Yes.
like they didn't switch cameras; they cut. And then sometimes they have the hard cam, and then they just reverse hard cam, and wow, that takes you out of it. It's like, whoa, what the fuck happened? Like it.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's like, what is going on? It completely screws with my brain.
yeah, it messed my brain up several times, but I think by halfway through the show, it's like, oh, they have a second hard cam. Ugh, weird.
Which is like really interesting when you think about like just the production side of wrestling.
Yeah.
Because like I brought newer people in to watch wrestling, and one of the biggest complaints is I don't know what's going on.
Right.
And it's because they
Valid
don't
complaint.
quite yeah. But it's because like I don't know where they are in the ring or anything, and usually it was a WWE property. Like surprisingly enough, anyone I've brought in who like isn't a wrestling fan and watches AEW, they go, the action is so hectic I can't keep up. But it's not like WWE where they literally go, I don't know what's happening, and that's because one, WWE uses so many cuts and they don't use the hard cam very much because the hard cam is your anchor point to the entire show.
Right.
Of knowing where people are and what they're doing. And it was just a very interesting fact of when you take away that hard cam point of reference, like it left me disoriented.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I had all of a sudden gone upside down in water.
Yeah, it reminds me of in film, you probably know more about this than I do, but I know they have, I don't know what they call it, but they have the thing where like if I'm, and that's the way the cameras are in the fucking recording, if I'm talking to you, I'm facing to the right and you are facing to the left. And if we did two different like interspersed camera shots, that's how they would be. They would not have me talking facing to the right and then you talking to me facing to the right. It would be like, wait, like they're talking to each other? Why are they? I forget what it's called. It's some
Blocking.
kind of, yeah, but there's a term for like the wall. It's a type of, I don't know what it's called, but like it's a thing that like amateur filmmakers screw up a lot because they don't think about it, I think. But it's the same kind of thing for me where if you go from the hard cam to the opposite hard cam, you cut, it's like, oh god, wait, you have to like reorient. It's like you have to mentally go to the other side of the stadium of Korakuen Hall and be like, okay, now I'm over here. All right, I think I understand.
It takes away that anchor point that is very essential for knowing, for realizing what is going on and where the action is.
Right.
And like we've talked about All Japan before in how they have several like different style camera shots, and it's very good. Whenever they get like a real up close and hold on, I'm gonna go calm my dog down.
Sure, have fun.
You can just hear it.
Yes, I can.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
We will just continue to bark.
Yeah. So where were we? Oh, right, the cameras. So yes.
So yeah, we get that strange cut, and then it just goes to where Nishiwaki was getting beat up, and then all of a sudden she is not. She dodges an assisted drop kick from Bull, who just pace Bison.
Yeah, it's just clothesline. I was like, okay. The first of quite a few times that sort of shenanigan happens on this show.
Yup.
Hoda gets a power bomb and a lot of perfect plexes. I guess the perfect plex was not that singularly Mr. Perfect's move. I guess like it was a thing before that. I always thought of the leg hook bridging suplex as specifically his move, but apparently all the Joshis do it. So,
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing you're going to find out. It's, a kind of contrite take at this point, but a bunch of, like,
yeah.
wrestlers that we know and love just stole their moves from Japan,
Yeah.
just shamelessly.
Yeah. Nishi does a really far top rope glancing drop. I don't know. It looked like she hit her in the stomach or something. It's very weird. Nishi does another power bomb. I was like, oh, we're in the 90s now. We're doing more power bombs. Like,
Mhm.
you could tell it's starting to happen. Hoda gets Bison in the electric chair for a top rope splash from Nishi, but she rolls her up just before the move, which looks like Nishi goes up to the top like she's gonna splash, and right before she jumps, Bison like ducks down and curls her up. And fucking
did a
Nishi
victory
eats shit.
roll.
Yeah, Nishi eats shit, and then so Bison has her in the victory roll, but they're not doing the pin. And actually, this kind of got me because I wasn't. And this is something we kind of talked about earlier. So like I'm huge in AEW, so I convinced my mom to watch AEW when I went to the show, just in case I ended up on TV, which was never going to happen. But it was a good show anyways. I was like, hey, watch the show. And something she said was like, the tag matches are great, but you can't tell what's going on, and it's not because of the camera. And I also used to have this issue. It's because telling who is legal and who is supposed to be doing what is really difficult when there's 800,000 spots and group spots, and it's very. And I used to like watch AEW and be like, okay, they're legal. Okay, I'd have to like I'd have to mentally keep track. And on the Joshi shows, I don't have to focus. Later in the show, it becomes more of a thing. But like here, I had no idea who was legal, and so like Bison gets her in the package, but like the ref just looks at it. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
And then on the other end, so Nishi ate shit on the top rope, and then Bull just goes off the other end with the fucking leg drop and pins her. And I was like, oh, Bull's legal. And she could see after the match, Bull's like, I'm legal. I got the fucking tag. You weren't paying attention. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I saw it and was like, oh wow.
It was very smart.
They're doing tag shenanigans.
Yeah.
And I was, the roll up happened after Nishiwaki just ate shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can't pin her, like, but I mean, that was the thing. It was a distraction, and then here comes Bull Nakano with the Tennessee Jam. And I was like, okay. And you can tell the crowd was like a little confused by it, but like you'll see the ref, the ref signals like 6 times on the hard cam. He's like, tag was made. You need to get out. Tag was made. Get out. Get out.
Yeah. It was one of those things where, like, while watching it, I was like, oh, what? And then afterwards, it's like, oh, like they were ahead of me and the crowd mostly. Now, the thing is, so that was the match. Bull is awesome. I have Bull is awesome as always, but this was maybe 4 minutes. So it was good while it lasted, but it was kind of
It didn't overstay its welcome, but it also like didn't highlight too terrible much. It was just kind of a filler match, which is very strange because I mean you got Bull Nakano.
Yeah, I feel like maybe there's other stuff going on that's more of the focus, but yeah, I gave it a 2 3/4 out of 5. It was totally fine. You could, if you watched it, you'd be like, "Oh, cool," but like also it goes and then it ends, and you're like, "All right,
yeah,
it's fine."
Yeah, like it's not bad or anything, but it's just kind of like tears in the rain. So yeah, I only gave it 2 logging chains out of 5.
Oh, no.
So
okay. So next, and I'm sure we have some of the same notes, but we'll save those for a minute. We'll save them for the when we get, because I wanna call this match the way I experienced it, which is the funniest way to call it. So it was the next match was the WWWA World Tag Championship. It's for the World Tag Championship. Akira Hokuto and Suzuka Minami, who I don't think they tagged on the last show. Akira was tagging with somebody else, I think.
I don't remember Akira from the last show, but
I feel like she was on it.
I do remember Suzuka Minami.
I think Akira and Hota were tagging. And now Hoda is tagging with Nishiwaki, and Akira is tagging with Suzuka. I think they switched off. Yeah, it was Akira and Hota, because Hota would just kick the shit out of people, and Akira would do all the fucking holds and the shit she does in this match. Yeah. Suzuka Minami wrestled Toyota.
Minami Toyota.
And she's in this match. The challengers are Minami Toyota and Atsuka. Mita was with I don't remember who she was with last show.
Yumiko?
It was Dream Orca. I think you're right.
Those Yumiko, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. So,
Hoda.
So the champs come out. The challengers come out first. Minami looks awesome with the tiny little pink jacket. It's just this little cutoff pink jacket that looks awesome. Minami looks even cooler. They're in their fucking Dayglow outfits. I love. I can't explain it. I think it's the hair. You were right about the hair, where like the shorter hair means it feels, I don't even think it's like time. It's just like how you're supposed to be perceived. Like if you have shorter hair, you're typically like just younger and if you have longer hair, it's like, oh, you're on it now. So like Suzuka just has this aura to her. I don't know how to put it. But, like, whenever I see her, I'm just like, man, she fucking rules. Like, I just love her. And it's so crazy she wasn't there that long. But, they had these ridiculous Dayglow outfits.
See, this match immediately, once again, I'm in there and I'm like, okay, it is definitely Minami Toyota.
It is Minami Toyota. 100%.
Hell yeah. And then I'm like, that doesn't look like Minami Toyota.
It's Minami Toyota.
My brain is being damaged because of this.
This is like I'm trying to think. There's many wrestling examples of this when you go back and watch an old show and somebody's like, that's that person. You're like, wait, what? What the fuck? It's like if you watch WrestleMania 1, they have Matt Bourne in a sleeper match against, I don't even remember who he wrestles. And Matt Bourne is Doink the Clown. Like, he's the original Doink. He's at WrestleMania 1. But if you go back and watch, like, it really... And Doink Clown is honestly was a fucking great technical wrestler. Matt Bourne was awesome in the ring. But the thing is like, if you grew up on Doink the Clown, and you go back and watch WrestleMania 1, and somebody goes, that's Doink the Clown, the whole match, you're like, wait, what? What? It's all you can pay attention to. You're like, that... Are you sure? Are you sure that's... Yeah, I guess it kind of... could be, and I think that's what you're experiencing. You're watching Minami Toyota be like, is it though? Is it?
Yeah, and I love Minami Toyota. And like I see her and I'm like, okay, the camera quality isn't that great. I guess that's her.
It's her.
And then I start doubting it because spoiler alert in this.
Oh no, don't do it yet, because I have to get there with my notes, because it really upset me.
Yeah, so you're just going to read it off.
I'm just going to go through it as normal, because it'll be a surprise for everybody too. So, but yes, I think mostly it's because she just does not... I mean, she's a legend. She doesn't work like she does later. If you go back and watch a stunning Steve Austin match,
yeah,
he's great.
But at least whenever I look at the camera, I go, yeah, that's Steve Austin.
I know what you mean.
With hair. Like in this, it's hard to tell
she
because
looks so different.
I'm like, it looks like Minami Toyota, but like Minami Toyota later, she just has this air of regality about her, where like, she's a face, but like you feel blessed to be looking upon her.
Yeah, and she's like a kid in this. She's like a kid fighter. It's totally different. The idea, yeah. So, all right, the match, because this is gonna be very hilarious. The breakdown. So there slaps into immediate Germans from the heels, which is the champs Manami and Hokuto. Uh, Akira starts absolutely murdering Mita, which is probably my favorite story in the match. Is just Mita being like a girl in over her head against like horrible heels. I just love, and she wants to win, but Jesus Christ, she just gets murdered at every turn. I just love that so much. There's another cut, which there were a couple cuts in this match, and I was like, oh, not this match. Don't cut in this match. It might have been a hard cam thing, but I don't think so, because I think this is one of the cases where like somebody different is just in the ring.
Yeah. It only happens the one time. The other times are hard cam hokum.
Okay,
so
that's not
don't
that bad.
worry about it.
Akira hits the fall-away pile driver on Manami. Mita gets involved. So Mita like comes in the ring to break it up, and Akira just gets up and slaps her head off on the apron before she does another pile. She just does a pile driver. Like, I don't even remember if I think she did the pile driver. Mita came in and like kicked her or something and went back to the apron, and Akira just got up and fucking smacked the shit out of her. She just falls on the apron, and then she's like, all right, I'll do another one. I'll just do another pile driver. I was like, fuck's sake.
No, and whenever she pile drives her, like there are flower petals left in the ring from the ceremony at the beginning.
Yeah.
And it looks like
debris
change has just fallen on there. And so one, I'm looking for Tully Blanchard in the roll of quarters, and then two, I realize, oh no, those are fucking Mita's rings because she just got the piss knocked out of her by Hokuto.
Yeah.
Like she's goddamn Sonic the fucking Hedgehog.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay, so, and they kind of repeat the spot here, which I really like. Like, Akira gets Toyota in a hold, and Mita gives her a drop kick to the back, and she just fucking sits in the hold like it didn't even happen. And there's an amazing shot where Akira has Manami in the hold, and Mita is like in the frame looking concerned from the apron. I was like, Kevin Dunn, eat your fucking heart out. This shot is amazing. Like, she's just got her over here, and Manami's just selling. Like, and you can see Mita in the background, like, looking concerned, like she wants to go over there and help, but she can't. And Kevin Dunn gets a lot, I mean, arguably too much credit these days about being, you know, the Holly. He makes all these things look so great, da da da. Like he invented that shit, you know. That's always been. It's not like camera people production crews don't know what they're fucking doing. I mean, aside from the switching the hard cams, but you know,
I mean, that was experimentation in this time. I can't blame them for trying something different and new to like differentiate yourself.
Oh, like Kevin Dunn shaking the camera around.
Just fuck off.
Shake it, shake it. Roman's hitting them. Shake it more.
God, I'm gonna make I'm gonna make the Dark Knight Rises fight scene legible.
So there's a great top rope elbow from Suzuka. Another reverse hot tag to Mita, and she eats clothesline. They do these clotheslines where like you don't fall down. I mean, you do, but you just kind of jump into them and then jump backwards. Then a jumping pile driver. Woof. That was the first of a few on the show.
And I mean, one thing that I want to say is like, fucking when Toyota is in the move from Hokuto, and at one point Mita does come in for the save.
Yeah.
And she like barely brushes Hokuto with like a slap.
I remember this.
Barely brushes her.
Yeah.
And then Hokuto just goes over there to where she is like not the legal person in the match and just punches her straight in the face.
Yep. And there wasn't much fanfare to it. It was like, fuck you. Don't touch me. It felt kind of real, but I mean, it wasn't. So maybe, I don't know. It's hard to tell, but yeah. So this is one way I've discovered if a face is very, very, very over, uh, Mita gets a small package, and the whole crowd goes, ah! They all fucking pop. If a crowd pops for a small package, like you could win the match, you are fucking over. Like, they want you to win really bad. There's a great thing here, which I have a note. I love Mita's desperate shit offense when she gets Irish whipped and she just hobbles off of the ropes like she's gassed, and she just lays in these strikes that look pathetic. And it's so good because she's just like, she's just trying everything she can, and she's just dead. There's a crazy spot that I don't know if it was intentional. I feel like it was because of what happened next, but Toyota goes up top for like it looks like a team move, but she like her Mita and Akira like held up, and she falls onto the apron when like the rope gets hit, and I was like, I don't know if that's a botch. It looked fucky, but the thing is they immediately go to the other end, and the same kind of thing happens in the other end because Mita eats a top rope splash from Akira and the second rope backdrop from Suzuka to lose. Amazing sell from Mita where she just like is craned over on her back. So heels win. Immediately I get
just perched like the fucking vulture she is, the evil fucking harpy.
Yeah, okay. So if you say so. So the heels get the pin. I have great match. Again, wish it was a bit longer. Not nearly enough Manami Toyota. But it was still good. It was 3/4 out of 5. And then the bell rings again. And I go, wait, what? What? And then I go, the bell, I have, wait, what? The bell rang again. And Suzuka threw Mita out. And then I have it all caps. Is this a 2 out of 3 falls tag match? Because I had no idea what was going on. And I had just written, like, it wasn't long enough. And they didn't get to do everything. And then they just start going again. And I'm like, oh, holy shit. I was like, it's like Christmas happened. I was like, oh my god. Perfect.
Well, I'm not going to lie. By this point, whenever the pin happened, I was like, okay, phew, thank God, Manami and Mita can stop getting the shit kicked out of them by this evil fucking terrible person.
Wow, you don't like Akira Hokuto very much. I thought she was
great. Hokuto, like, here's the thing. Yeah. Okay, so like, there's a difference between like laying it in and working snug and just punching someone.
Oh yeah.
The second I saw her fucking blast Mita with a punch, I was like, kill her. I want her dead.
Hey, that's heel
because yeah, I mean, that's the thing, like, Jesus, like, I know I'm probably getting worked on a certain level, but I can't help but feel like she was just stiffing them for no fucking reason. There's a difference between like working your green talent in with a veteran, because Hokuto is definitely a veteran at this point.
Yep.
But her literally just punching the shit out of them whenever like they are giving her the lightest fucking shit.
Yeah.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I wanted to see like Manami Toyota from 1995 stroll into the ring and destroy this woman with a stare.
Well, I'm sure you'll get your wish at some point. You might have got it at some point in this match, but right. So the match continues. I'm like,
yep.
I'm on fucking cloud 9 because I so wanted more. Basically Manami Toyota didn't get. She worked, she sold, and it was great, but she didn't really
We see the entire time, like, I think Toyota is selling from a previous, like, match kayfabe.
Okay.
Because she sells her shoulder the entire time, and either A, she's working extremely hurt, and
Yeah.
they're just, like, working her shoulder and being real assholes, or it's an angle from a previous encounter.
Yeah.
And since we don't have a good, like, chronicalization of everything, it's hard to tell, like, what's an angle, what's a story.
Right. Yeah, and there's a bunch of post-match stuff we'll get into later. So bell rings again. Incredible drop kicks from Akira on Toyota. Gorgeous standing senton. I will say, like, Akira's slip stuff is very, she doesn't do too much of it, but when she does it, it's really great. Manami runs wild with single leg drop. She does single leg drop kicks. I don't know if that's part of her repertoire later.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, she does this, and I'm like, once again, the whole match, I'm like, this isn't Manami Toyota. And then she does this, and I go, it's Manami Toyota!
Correct. Mita gets tagged, starts killing the heels. Then
I really want to stress this.
Yes.
Mita comes in, and finally, and I popped for this. Like,
Yes.
I'm at my computer desk just, like, yelling at the monitor because Mita lays in 2 gorgeous back elbow strikes to this vicious fucking mockery of a human being.
Well, then, but ultimately what happens is Hokuto no-sells a clothesline and slaps her fucking head off.
See, and that's the thing. I was upset up to this point, but then Hokuto, this is where, like, just the disrespect comes in, because she just all of a sudden starts no-selling their shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I got legitimately mad at this point, because, like...
You wouldn't like the Road Warriors.
Well, no, that's
Hawk.
part of their...
Well,
that's
it is
part of their thing. I get
it's
that.
part until he does it like 3 times in a match, and he fucking has to actually sell and sucks at it. You know, like, yeah, I get what you mean though.
His selling bones atrophied in the 80s.
Yeah. Mita hits a gorgeous atomic backbreaker. Now here, actually, perfect time for us to make this point. Here is where I got a little peeved, because yes, the stiffness, I was chalking it up to Japanese wrestling, and that's just the narrative of the match. Now, the thing is, Akira takes this atomic backbreaker, and she's on the ground, selling, air quotes, selling. She's looking up at the fucking sky and looking at the camera with no expression. And I'm like, listen, you just took you took a fucking backbreaker. You're on the ground. Sell, motherfucker. Like, I'm like, you're not selling. Like, that's not even no selling. It's just like nothing. And I actually got kind of peeved. I was like, he could really sell. Like, there's really no reason not to sell. Just because it's Mita? I don't get it. So yeah, I was pretty about that.
Yeah, maybe there's something I'm missing, because, you know, we don't have the whole story in the translation, but to me, this seems like Hokuto went into business for herself and decided to beat the piss out of 2 young talent.
I think there's no good storyline reason for you to take a backbreaker, be on the ground, and not sell. Like, if you're gonna no sell, jump up and do a big fucking stink. But she doesn't. She just sits there and looks. It's like, she's like, what's the next move? And it's like, fuck off. Like, sell, fucker. Like, you're in a match. Like, give them something. Anyway.
It's like when Bruiser Brody just started no-selling Lex Luger in a fucking blood feud cage match. It was weird, it's stupid,
it's awkward,
and
it takes me out of the match. Like, the instant I saw her just staring at the camera, I'm like, fuck, like, this match is so good, you don't need to do this. Manami Toyota hits a beautiful top rope elbow Like,
Oh yeah.
oof, it was very gorgeous. Suzuka accidentally hits Akira with the $1 million man top rope punch, which I put honestly kind of hilarious because I love that move, but it's so like you stand up there, you put your arm up, and then you kind of fall forward. You have all day to just like not do it. And Akira just gets pulled in front. She just does it anyway. It's like, oh, well, that's kind of, you get what you paid for, I guess. Toyota steals the pin to a fucking raucous. Reaction. The crowd goes, oh my, they fucking pop like crazy.
They lose their minds. And I actually managed to figure out the chant. Like, you just hear this chorus of, young teen girls just like screaming their heads off and losing their minds.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were chanting Mamita,
mm-hmm.
half of Manami, Toyota, and then Mita. It was a name that they gave them, apparently, Mamita. Because
Awesome.
they're like Mamita, Mamita, and I mean it is deafening.
Yeah, it was awesome. So, third portion. Now here we did get a cut. They cut. Hard cut, and I was like, no, this match is it's because at this point we're probably talking like at least 15 minutes, and I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah, and they've been running full tilt boogie.
Yeah, and I wanted to see the whole thing, and then there's just a cut. So Mita counters an Akira clothesline into an arm lock, which is great. I'm like, fucking good.
And
Fuck
I'm
her.
like, pull
make
her
sell.
Off.
Yeah, stretch them. But
open her up. Open her up.
But Akira gets to the corner. And Suzuka lays in these fucking brutal kicks on Mita, which, I mean, that's just the kicks. That's just the thing that they do. Suzuka misses the running crossbody, and Toyota gets in to do this. Okay, she does a body slam, but, like, she twists when she does it. She, like, turns her whole body and then turns over and then pushes forward. I was like, CM Punk, you need to get on this. Like, this is like the coolest looking body slam I've ever seen. I think somebody else did it on this show. I guess in Japan they really like lean around and sell it a lot. Okay. Where was Jesus, the notes. There's so much shit that happens. Toyota has a whole series of bridging pin attempts. Just all these crazy, like,
seeing once again, I was like, okay, this is Manami Toyota, hell yeah.
Yeah. They trade suplexes for near falls. Toyota gets a gotch German where, like, halfway through she has to flip her all the way over. That looks I don't know if that's a thing. I think she did it last show, and I was like, God, that looks crazy. Then Manami takes one and Mita saves the pin. Akira gets in and whips Toyota, but she's okay. Yeah. See, this was kind of where this was something that I was like, that might be real. Because Akira whips Manami into the ropes, and Manami stops at the ropes. And you could tell Akira was going for a clothesline, but she stopped. So she, like, puts her arm out like she's gonna do it, and then Manami's not there, so she just goes up and starts fucking laying in strikes, and she gives her a kick to the fucking head. Like, she's just like,
no,
fuck
she
you.
is punching her straight on in the fucking face.
Yeah, and I got the sense it was like, you fucked up the spot, so fuck it. I'm gonna tee off on you. That's really what I felt like.
And I'm sorry, there has been enough fucking potatoes in here.
Yeah.
We do not need to, like, become fucking farmers. And Mita is blown the fuck up. Like, Mita is blown up from all this, and she's on the apron. She gets some
on her
of
knees
it,
and shit.
like,
Yeah.
And I just have here in my notes, fuck Hokuto, fuck Hokuto, fuck Hokuto. I hate her. This sucks so fucking
Wow.
bad.
I did not. I only considered this I definitely felt she was the weak link in the match, in the sense that she took me out of the match. She was still, her work rate was good, but the problem was is she was the only thing that took me out. So, but I did not have this level. You'll find out later. But Toyota selling. Oh, Suzuka clotheslines are out of the ring. Toyota selling was, at this point I was just like, she's just next level selling. Like, maybe at this point in time, like, I'm trying to think, like, Mr. Perfect sold, but it's not the same, because like, I like Mr. Perfect, but it was a carnival level of, it was comical almost. He would do flips off of strikes and shit. And this is like, she's just yelling and screaming, and the facials and the fucking movement, it's hard to explain. It's just incredible.
Yeah, she looks like she is in peril and is in the worst pain of her life.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, I can't wait for a match later, you know, many of her matches later on, whenever she, like, really perfects this, because she hasn't even reached her final form.
I think she sells. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And whenever she, you know, gets to that point, I think you're going to be very impressed.
I'm sure. I think in this match she sells better than Mita, and Mita's selling is like unbelievable. So, like, that's really something.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Mita's having to sell on top of a layer of actually being punched the fuck out by this horrible harpy Hokuto.
Yeah, she kind of has to. I don't want to say she has to no sell, but she has to, like, not give away that the real stuff is as real as it is. Like, you have to fake sell for a real thing, which is actually probably harder than fake selling for a fake thing.
Well, that's like whenever I was in wrestling training, we were doing a mock matchup, and I got DDT'd by a fella, and, like, he wasn't necessarily being mean to me, but he just laid his shit in. So he did, like, an old school Jake Roberts DDT.
Yeah, where you just fall
and and so, like, I was, you know, trying to do something different with it, because, I mean, I was just learning the bump.
Right.
And he just cranked my head directly on the mat. It just danked, and I start selling, but I'm hurt, you know? And, like, everyone's like, oh, that's really good. You know, you did really good. But I'm having to, like,
it's because it sucked ass.
It sucked ass. But I'm having to, like, sell it in the context, because I just wanted to, like, crawl over to the ropes and cry.
Yeah.
You know, instead of, like, holding my head and, you know, kicking my legs around like I just got, you know, freaking murdered.
Yeah. So, say what you want about Hokuto, but this was the spot of the match for her. For me, Manami's been clotheslined out, and Akira runs to the ropes and teases a tope, but then she laughs like, fuck that. And then she just goes out on the apron and does a fucking cannonball to the outside. I was like, oh my god, what a fucking heel. Like, it was very impressive. And also, again, the selling. Mita and the young girls, like, all try to, like, rouse Manami Toyota as though she was dead. Like, she's face down on the mat, and they're all just like, come on, you have to get up. It was like, oh my god. Jesus. Back in, Suzuka goes for a German, but like, Manami gets back in at like fucking 18 or something. It was really up there. Suzuka goes for a German, but like, she lifts her, but Manami, like, hooks her legs around her back and then flips forward for the. I love that spot. There's all kinds of people that do it, but, like, it looks really great every time. Manami does a twisting suplex this time. It's like a vertical. She just kind of, like, twists when she does suplexes and bodies. It looks really good. Mita comes off the top. I think she went for, like, a splash off of the German. I think she was supposed to miss Suzuka, but she like clips her right in the head as she like moves away, and
Oh
Suzuka
yeah.
kind of like wobbles over to her corner and tags Akira anyway. I was like, it's kind of dodgy. And
Yeah,
then
yeah, she gets up because she is like, and that's the thing. I love Suzuka,
mhm.
but like she gets stiffed once and then like runs over there and
She sells it.
tags Hokuto,
Yeah.
and it's like, I'm sorry, these other girls have just been getting fucking killed. Like,
Yeah.
you can suck it up a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the plan was, but I will say at this point the match goes into like eighth fucking gear. It goes crazy at this point because what starts and this is something I want to talk about is I'll give the next spot and then talk about it. So Suzuka goes make 10, gets Akira, and Akira gets Mita with a gorgeous top rope missile drop kick, and goes for the pin, and we're talking 2.999999 out of 3. Like it was
Yeah.
so close. And now I've heard it said that like Kurt Angle was the real guy who popularized kicking out at the very last second. But apparently Kurt Angle watched a lot of fucking Joshi because at
Yep.
this point there's a lot of pins that are like any of them could have been the finish. And I bought a lot of them and it was just like 1, 2, kick out, like right there. Like you're like, Jesus Christ, like every time. Akira goes to the top rope again, gets caught, and Mita does the airplane spin into the F5.
Yep.
And then a double arm hook suplex after that for another 2.9999 count. At this point, the crowd is unhinged. I'm freaking out because I honestly don't know who's gonna win. Well, I looked at the cards, so I know who's gonna win. but you know, they could have won it back. I don't know. Manami gets tagged, eats a German for a third 2.9999 out of 3. You can hear the commentators start going nuts. Like they're like, "Oh man, Germans," you know, whatever in Japanese. I don't know what they're saying, but Manami goes up top for drop kick. Akira grabs her legs, does a crab that she falls onto her back to lay into for the submission, which honestly is a really great finish. But I mean, you did not want them to win. I know.
Not only that, but like, okay, so here's the thing. Hokuto gets all of that offense done
Yes.
to her and then just immediately gets the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
that
think I don't
makes
mind
me-
it so much if that's not her. Here's the thing. I don't mind monster heels. And Akira is supposed to be a badass. The problem is that if she's actually hurting people or being, you know, horrible in match, that's a whole other thing. But like it's kind of a thing where like, you know, if Bull Nakano stiffs somebody, that's fucking bullshit. She shouldn't do that. But at the same time, like, if she takes some moves and gets up and fucking wins, I'm like, well, you know, it's Bull Nakano. I can't argue with it. So,
you see,
yeah.
like, you can argue, like, that's some character work.
Yes.
And, like, what have we seen from Hokuto? Like, there isn't much of a character. She's
yes.
a person in a singlet. Like, you know, maybe I'm missing stuff in translation and everything.
The character I got was that she's supposed to be like a badass striker who doesn't take any shit. The problem is I would kind of equate her to a more technical and more nuanced Hawk from the Road Warriors. And that, like, yes, she hits the shit out of people, but the problem is when it's her turn, she doesn't understand that like selling actually gets that character over, because when you sell, like when we watched and this week Suzuki and Danielson was a big thing. If Suzuki sells something and then he comes back to whip ass, it's so much more effective than if he just never fucking sells. Like if he never sells, then what's the point of watching the match? Like it's just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm fully willing to admit that, you know, I'm missing something in the translation, but to me, watching this, it seems like a veteran taking advantage of two younger wrestlers,
Mm-hmm.
and it sucks.
Right.
Because there is a big difference between stiffing someone and like walking up and punching them in the face.
Totally.
And then, she does. I'm sorry, I don't care how flexible you are, but you do a move like that, you do the lion tamer where you just do a back bump, you will hurt someone. Period. That was like body mechanics and everything. Like, not even Melina in her prime could take a move like that with that kind of force without having something hurt. Luckily, Manami Toyota like realized what was happening
Yeah.
and like turned her body at the last second, but like
I don't know if that was part of the plan or if that's what I mean, though, is like I can't watch this and really. Yeah, if you see it as a pattern of behavior, for sure. But like I kind of watched it and she was stiff at times, probably too stiff. There were specific points where she wasn't selling, which really bothered me because that takes me out of it. But then other times it's like, it's kind of like, actually, it's like when we talked last week about the shots to the face with the slapping noise. And I was like, yeah, I can't tell if it's real or not. And then at that point, it's like, well, if it's real, it sucks because I don't want people really fucking hitting the shit out of each other. And if it's fake, then it's like, well, that's great because they're both on the same page. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Or like actually in the Suzuki Danielson match, a lot of people watched that and they saw that fucking strike that Suzuki gave him to the fucking head where he fucking put him down. And I bet a lot of people watch that and go, oh, wow, that I kind of don't like that because I feel like Danielson just fucking took head trauma and I had to watch it. And I watched it and I was like, no, it was safe. It just looked like it fucking sucked. And that's and they were they both wanted to do that.
And where we were talking about, how you can hit that flat side of the neck and get that pop noise and everything. Yeah, like that's the thing. I'm very adept because I am, a trained wrestler.
Yeah.
I'm adept at noticing these things and noticing whenever it's just like real stuff versus like well done stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, the two people aren't in agreement.
Yeah.
And there's just a stiff shot. If it's an accident, it's an accident. That, that's fine, but it was like
I just mean with the finish, it was kind of hard for me to tell if maybe they, because I looked at it, I was like, wow, that's a cool spot. It looks fucked up, but I guess that worked. And it looked like a killer spot. And if Toyota knew, like, if they were on the same page, like, hey, when you do this, I'm going to have to twist around so you don't kill me. And they do that. Cool. Yeah. I'm okay. But, like, if she was like, I'm just going to do this fucking move, fuck you, then yeah, that's horrible. So it's kind of hard for me to tell one way or the other. Yeah. But the stiff shit
and like,
was definitely
that one. And that one, like, maybe they worked that one out. It's hard to tell, but the other stuff beforehand just, like, really peppers it. And then, like...
the stuff afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get it.
And God. So, yeah, like, they win the match, the enemy, Hokuto, and Nishiwaki. They win. And
Suzuma, yeah. Nishiwaki's first match.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
And yeah, they have like the little ceremony going on that usually, marks the end of a Japanese championship match. And then they get on the mic and I can, I don't speak Japanese, so I can't tell what's going on, but it's like they were pissed.
It's clearly
that
disrespectful.
They won.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were pissed that they won.
Yep.
And I'm like,
the sense I got, and this plays into what you're saying, is Suzuka was a heel. So she was like catty. She was like, whatever, which is fine. Akira was actively hostile. She's like, fuck y'all, and I'll beat your ass again. And you were, like real and like threatening, and you're not worth my time and shit like that. Whereas Suzuka was more like just general heel. Akira was very like just an asshole. And I mean,
Mhm.
again, you can do both those things in the realm of character work, but they were clearly playing it up as well because they brought the young boy on the crutches in who was acting his ass off. I don't know what the angle is there, but there's a young boy on crutches who comes in and he's crying, and uh uh you know, Mita and Minami are trying to tell him off, and it, they Toyota and Akira start slapping each other before Akira lays out Mita again. Um, Also, I assume someone backstage was like, "Please stop throwing the microphone," because
Yeah.
one person would pick
God.
up the microphone and just throw it, and then the other person would pick it up and just throw it. It was boom, boom after everything. I'm like, "Please stop that! You're gonna break the fucking microphone."
And I
Um,
mean,
yeah.
poor Mita. Mita has a black eye that is swelling,
Mm,
and Toyota can barely talk because her jaw is swelling shut.
yeah.
Like, I don't know if you noticed that. Like, that was
Not really. No.
br- because when
Yeah.
Minami Toyota talks, like her lips are barely moving
I
because
saw
her
that.
jaw
Yeah.
jacked.
Okay, I assume
And
she got
Mita's
like a what do you call it? Like a swelled lip or something. Like somebody hit her in the fucking mouth or something.
well, yeah,
Um,
yeah, that happened too.
yeah. I mean, it's all just compounding at that point.
Yeah,
Um,
and Mita's left eye is closing.
yeah. And I mean, again, character wise, that's all there. Like Mita is definitely supposed to be the person. She's like I actually had it noted at some point. Like I used to think like Gold Dust was one of my favorite baby faces in Peril ever. Like later WWE Gold Dust when he was tagging with Cody. You know, like his baby face in Peril stuff was so amazing. Um
Yeah.
and apparently I just hadn't watched enough Mita matches in 1990 because she just like the way she does just out of her element babyface. It's so good. But yeah. So this was an absolute war, incredible to watch. My nitpicks here, mainly my nitpicks were mostly to delineate it from being a 5-star match, and it's pretty much a few spots that I'm unsure if they were botched or not. And I have Akira's relative lack of selling at points. She just I felt like it was a tag team versus somebody who thought they were on a tag team and somebody who thought they were in a singles match.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. Akira felt like she was trying to be a star and she's trying too hard. And it's like, listen, it's about everybody. Like it can't just be about you.
Well,
That
yeah, and I mean
really makes it.
That's
Mhm.
another thing we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, other than a few little spots, like, uh, you know, Minami Suzuka was not allowed to shine
No.
because if you think back on it, like, she would take a few moves and then tag in Hokuto,
Pretty
and
much.
Hokuto would come in and just clear house.
Hmm.
And like, I can appreciate the work rate, and like, she absolutely was working, but like, it I've probably said enough on it and everything, but I mean, it really seemed like she was going into business for herself, and it really messed up the whole match for me.
Okay, so I definitely have it rated higher. Mainly because I didn't really identify a lot of this. My main point of contention was the no selling, because
Hmm.
that really just that portion of the match I was like, why isn't she selling? And then the there's two quote unquote botches which they played off well enough that I could not tell that they were botches.
Yeah.
So and I'm still really not sure. So I said I think a lot of people should watch this. It was unbelievable. It's from 1990. Uh, I gave it 4.5. I know you're not going to give it that, but that's fine. I thought it was amazing. It was just the fact that it was basically like the one odd person out who was not on the ball that everybody else was on, but still. It's not like she couldn't
Yeah.
go. It was just she didn't have the same psychology of the rest of the match. It kind of like for me, it would have been worse. So, okay, here's a good example. So I compared her to Hawk. Now, the thing
Hmm.
is Hawk is a baby face. And to me, that's worse. It's worse to
Yeah.
me if somebody who's no selling and not doing what they're supposed to is a face, because I hate watching, or like Hulk Hogan does that shit. Like Hulk Hogan won't put somebody over right, and when he's a big, and he has to get all the offense and shit, and then that really kills the whole match for me. Now if they're a heel, it still sucks, especially, but there's a layer of like, well, I still want it. It's like you said halfway through, like, I just wanted Mita to fucking get in there, or Manami to get in there and whoop her ass. It's like, well,
Mm-hmm.
it does kind of play into the narrative, even if it sucks. Like, you watch it and you're like,
Yeah.
God, I want somebody to fucking beat her ass so bad. Like, it still kind of works. Yeah.
Oh God, no! Like I want to see them wrestle again, but I want to see like Mita grab a broom handle and just go to town on Hokuto. I mean,
Well,
Jesus Christ!
we'll see if Bull Nakano gets her hands on her at some point.
We
That'll
see
show you
like
no selling, fucker. Like, I'll show you.
see, I started to look. I looked up a few things about Akira Hokuto,
Yeah.
and apparently, if she is the same person, like, and that's the thing, it's so hard to tell. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she goes through a drastic character transformation, and she's one of the people that like would come to the ring dressed up in full kabuki gear.
Okay.
I'm sure you've seen the pictures and stuff. Like I've seen stills of it all my life, and so if this is her, like I mean,
Hold on.
this is yeah,
Does she have? Because there's somebody in full kabuki gear who has a match against. Yeah, yeah. Okay, she has one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. Against I think it might be Toyota. In the kabuki business, and
mm-hmm.
uh, by that I mean, so maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I know that, like, I think that match is next year. That's apparently, like, women's or otherwise, one of the greatest matches that ever happened. So, maybe, to be fair, it's against Manami Toyota. I mean, that helps a lot. She's, like, one of the greatest women's wrestlers, but, it takes two to tango, so maybe we're seeing some growing pains, or like maybe as this type of heel, she needs to branch out or do something different, or I don't know. I will say, like, she's definitely younger.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but yeah,
because that's the thing. During this time in wrestling, it is like hard to find pictures of them to like what I really wish they would have is like a Pokemon evolution flowchart of like all the wrestlers.
Yeah, you have like Steve Blackman, and then Head Cheese, and then Steve Blackman. They just reverts back to Steve Blackman. He devolved.
Yeah, he devolved.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, just being like, here is Manami Toyota in 1991.
Right.
Here she is in 92.
Yeah.
I wish that there was, like, a chart. That way I could, like, scientifically look at that and go, is this the same person?
Look, okay, we need to nail this down. Hold on. We need to nail this down. Okay, the person we are watching on these shows, it's Manami Toyota. We need to really. I need to get this through.
I'm still no.
It's not a body double, for Christ's sake. Like,
I have brain damage now.
It's just so funny that you don't think it's Manami. It so clearly is. She does all the same stuff, except not all the same stuff, but she does the same things, and she's young. That's all it is. She worked a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, I have trouble telling who people are.
You know what this reminds me of?
Like,
I'll give you another wrestler example. It reminds me of God, who was it? Who was just incredible when he was in WWE, in WWF, or WCW? The fucking with the yellow bullshit lucha costume. He looked ridiculous. No. God, what's his name? I'll look
Curry Man?
No, it was a WWF. Aldo Montoya. That's the same. That's the same man. Just Incredible is Aldo Montoya, and if you go back and watch an Aldo Montoya match, you would never in your wildest dreams go, "That's just incredible." People will go, "That's just incredible." You're like, "What the fuck are you?" Or you know what else? It's like it's when people tell you that Animal is Johnny Laurinaitis' brother. Yeah, you don't see it at all. You're like, "What? They don't even look alike," and they don't like what. But then
and we'll see. We might see some Johnny Ace matches in the men's division.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Soon, so yeah. Well, it's like for example, like when Matt Seidel first showed back up in AEW, I hadn't seen him since his Evan Bourne days in WWE,
mm-hmm.
and so whenever I saw him, I was like, "That's not him." And like
he's got hair.
Like, but there's like video evidence and like actual lineage, to say that and footage to be like, yeah, this is the same person. And this goes back to the archiving problem that I have is like these matches happened and they were preserved mostly out of like negligence because they just got left in a fucking drawer for 30 years because no one at the company like cared, which is like good for us, but just fucking wild.
See, that was crazy with this match specifically for me because I thought it was so incredible that it happened in 1990, and watching it being like, holy shit, I can't believe all this stuff happened, and the energy and level of it, and like I'm not like bragging or anything, but like the fact that we watched it, and I would say like not over 90% of wrestling fans haven't seen this match.
Oh, like, yeah, no.
That's crazy to me. Like this to me, I was like, wow, this was like practically a classic outside of some minor things, but like nobody's fucking seen it because it's on AJW PW Classics 38 out of a million tapes that just sit there, and it's like, man, like it's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I mean, everything aside, the match is, very good. And it is wild and it is woolly. And like, I, would definitely say go out of your way to watch it. Just, like,
how many bull ropes did you give it
though? Because of everything that, Hokuto does, like
it's fine.
Yeah.
Just give it one. It's fine. You hate it. It's the worst match ever. It's fine. Just kidding.
No, I mean it's 3. Just because I think that people should watch the match. But like I said, it is very heart racing at times because I'm just seeing this woman like just blast these people.
Yeah.
Like, it's so wild.
I get it too, because I'll go back and watch like a great, like you'll see a card where it's like, oh, Jericho versus Chris Benoit, which already, Chris Benoit, we're already blink, oh no. But at the same time, like you'll be like, oh, that sounds like it would be a great match. And then you watch the match and like 5 seconds in, Jericho fucking decks him with a chair shot to the head when he dives outside, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
And it immediately just like, and then like it's hard to even rate it at that point.
You're just seeing pictures of a home gym in your mind and going, nope.
Yeah, so they could do 25 fucking I don't know, Uchigatamis after that, whatever fucking crazy move. They do sliced breads and Spanish flies. It wouldn't matter because you're thinking like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck am I watching? So speaking of great matches. We fast forward to May 13th, 1990, Korakuen Hall, for a martial arts fight between Bat Yoshinaga and Sakie Hasegawa. Now, I am very curious. How many notes do you have about this match? This match, quote. Okay, I have 3 lines. But what's yours will be quicker. What's your one line?
Uh-oh.
That's it. And you didn't write anything. You don't have a rating?
I wrote uh-oh.
I don't have a rating either, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So I have the first line is all caps, boxing time. Sakie is the brunette and Bat is the dirty blonde, purely so I could, because I assumed I might need to keep them apart, which is not true. And the second line says, well, 30 seconds in, and I'm pretty sure this is a half shoot. There's a quick cut here, thank God. Third line. Well, in the sense that, like, it was scripted who was going to lose, and, like, who was going to hit who. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, the sense I got. So then, the third line, and the last line, oh, it's over. Laugh my ass off. No rating. Not a wrestling match. Why was this? And well, my first question was, why was this? And then immediately that question was answered because the second match was a martial arts fight between Aja Kong and Madusa. So I was like, all right. My next match is, okay, I think that was just to set this thing up. Like, I think it was just like, here's what you're getting into, which is not promising.
Okay.
Now, I have more notes, but they are not good notes. I will let you know ahead of time.
Yep. So, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
So, the reason I wrote uh-oh
was
because I had heard about this era.
Really?
And this style of match from this time.
I watched Brawl For All. Does that count?
Well, once again, they stole the idea.
Well, of all, okay, here's, I will go back to your question, but of all the things to steal, why in the holy fuck would you not steal the Joshi tag match 2 out of 3 falls, and you would steal this instead?
Yep.
Why would you steal this? This is just
misogyny for the most part.
Is somebody? I guess maybe fucking Vince was watching this, being like, "Oh yeah, look at them. They keep turning around." Like, fuck's sake.
Vince famously, like, rarely watches movies and rarely watches wrestling.
Well, they make movies, so.
And fuck off. And so the thing is, most of, like, Vince McMahon's cultural knowledge comes from his people, like, describing movies to him and describing things. And so he would get, you know, people like Michael P.S. Hayes, you know, being like, hey, Vince, you know what they've been doing over there in Japan? 1, they've been beating women. I love that. Love it, Vince. You'd love it too. But 2, they just let these little girlies go at it in the ring.
Now,
and so, like, Vince McMahon, like, literally got it filtered down through, like, you know, the Patterson and Briscoe and, you know, people like that, and they went with the Brawl For All. So,
hold on. Are you sure this is where he got that idea from?
Yeah. So
fucking really? Okay, so I always assumed, because I watched Brawl For All, I always assumed, and this is probably also partially true, I assumed the gimmick was Vince likes boxing. So I assumed he was like, this Butterbean guy, I bet I could beat him up, but I don't want to. I don't want to beat him up, because I could, but I don't want to. But, I bet one of my guys could beat him up. So I'll have all the guys fight each other, and then whoever wins, they'll totally kick his ass. And then we'll humble that fat guy. It'll be great.
You don't know.
No.
Oh, you don't know.
What don't I know?
Okay, so the Brawl For All?
Yeah.
That was planned.
Well, yeah.
And the thing is, do you know who they originally wanted to win the Brawl for All?
Was it Vince? Because that would be hilarious. I know they wanted somebody to win. They had a plan, but that didn't go through. Bargun just whooped whoever's ass. I think it was like Tank Abbott or it wasn't Tank Abbott. Who was it? Ken Shamrock? No, he wasn't even in it. Dan
Close.
Severn?
Similar body type. It was
Can't remember.
Dr. Steve Williams.
That's right. So yeah, same idea. I knew they had a plan, and it just completely fell through when he just got his ass whipped because it was a shoot.
Yeah, because they were like, yeah, we're going to shoot on it for whatever fucking reason. And say what you will about Cornette and everything, he is 100% completely correct about the Brawl for All debacle. So the thing is, that tournament was meant to essentially crown Steve Williams as a legitimate tough man, and he was supposed to go on to fight Stone Cold.
Sure.
Turns out he got concussed in the Bart Gunn match and injured his neck or back, and he never wrestled in WWE again, I don't believe.
No.
That pretty much ended his career.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, Bart Gunn won, and instead of pushing Bart Gunn as the legitimate tough badass man, they said
they pushed Billy Gunn as the badass.
They said we hate
up,
this guy.
Yes.
And Vince said, "Bring me Butterbean." Butterbean was a
they were like, the food? And
punishment.
then they're like, no, bring me the Butterbean. Yes, Vince.
Butterbean was a punishment to Bart Gunn to humble him for ruining their tournament that they failed to tell everyone could be a work.
Okay, so what I would say about, I mean, obviously we all know Butterbean killed him, but my thing at the time was it was so funny because it's you talk about Bart Gunn now, you were asking, you know what happened to Bart Gunn? I'm like, yeah, everybody goes, who, Billy Gunn? And then you go, no. Not Billy Gunn, which is hilarious because Billy Gunn being confused for anybody is Billy Gunn's not even that popular. So, so we really don't want to talk about this match, quote unquote. Okay, so I will start off by saying the first match, and this is an important delineation as well. The first match, quote unquote, that was not a match with the two randoms that went 2 minutes. One person just kicked the shit out of the other one and punched them, and they died. So they were in gis, karate gi or taekwondo or whatever, martial arts gis, and they're barefoot and they have boxing gloves, which already looks stupid. Now, that looks stupid. However, we got to the match, and I really want to specify that I'm a good boy and I don't like making fun of how women look. It's very bad. But Aja Kong looks cool, except her shirt, which looks honestly gross. I don't know how to put it. It looked like a
It
turd.
is a airbrushed shirt with the word punk written on it in a 1990s font, and it is covered in red paint that already looks like blood stains.
Well, there's also
blood stains and dirt.
It's dirt, which looks like shit, honestly. It looks like crap, and I'm like, that looks bad. But Madusa, okay. Madusa's getup, she looks like a stacked olive oil. She looks like a cartoon character. She's got a singlet over a top that's like a white top with these fucking big blue trunks that she looks like a cartoon character. And she's got these big oversized boxing gloves with the blonde hair tied. She looked absolutely ridiculous. And I have, not gonna lie, Madusa looks absolutely ludicrous in this getup. Then I have my first note after that is not much to call here. And then I have, for some reason, I have paragraphs of notes for no good reason.
So
I
real
think we'll
quick,
summarize it, but yes, go ahead.
so real quick, I want to get back to my original point.
Oh, right.
This was a style of match that was popularized at the time in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
which, this style of match led to Pride, the MMA promotion
Right.
over in Japan.
Right.
Um,
They wore onions on their
and,
belts, and that was the style.
yeah, style at the time.
Right.
And so here's the thing, like, these are semi-worked shoots.
Yes.
And this was like a thing where it was like, go out there and really fight, but don't really like hurt each other too terrible bad. Oftentimes it was just, you cannot follow something like that.
Yeah.
And so in the 90s, like, this style of match was popularized, and it led to a semi-fusion of MMA and, wrestling, which is somewhat good. But do you know one of the people who, pioneered this style and it has gone on to become
Minoru Suzuki.
Yep.
Yeah, well, Pancrase is... okay, the difference is he went on to pioneer it and make it better. That's the problem, is at this point, I am watching something I am pretty sure is in its infancy, and it is uncomfortable.
It is upsetting.
Yes, so for the folks at home, or wherever you are, at work, I don't care, they really hit each other with boxing gloves and their fucking legs and feet. Their faces are fucking swollen at the end. They start bleeding from the nose at multiple different points.
Aja Kong's nose is broken.
Yes. Now, there's 6 rounds. I am not going to break down all 6 rounds unless you want to hear me say the same things over and over. I'm going to summarize what happens throughout the match. They punch at each other. They have no idea how to block punches. So it's wild and woolly, and not in a way that's like, there's a few crazy haymakers here and there. But the main thing is, if somebody starts getting beat up in the face, instead of putting their hands in front of their face, they will do one of two things. They either put their hands on their side of their face, which is what Aja Kong did a few times, which is not good. Don't do this for listeners or viewers at home. Because what happens is the person hits you.
If you are being assaulted
yes.
by Madusa in your home,
put your hands in front of your face. Like, you don't want something to hit.
Because then she can't see you.
Yeah, well, and then your time is now. But if you put your hands on the side of your face, what happens is they hit you in the middle of your face. That's where they hit you. Or they hit you in the gut, really. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But, if you're Madusa, you hit her in the middle of the face or on the top of the head. Now, the other thing you do not want to do in a fight when somebody's punching at your head, you never want to do this. You don't want to turn 180 degrees and face the other direction, because this happens a billion times in this match. And it's like,
yeah, and Madusa is not afraid to give those fucking rabbit punches. Jesus Christ.
No. And at multiple times in the match, I have noted, please stop turning around. Stop it. I need you to stop. It's not going to help you ever. Now, the other thing is, now I think this is just Aja Kong's thing, is she throws Hurricanes. She throws the spinning back fist.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know it's quote-unquote fake. It's again, this is like a half shoot where they're really hitting each other, but they're also like, I'm pretty sure there's a predestined outcome, which is not an outcome, da-da-da-da-da. And so I think it's like Aja Kong does the spinning back fist. But the thing is if you do that 8 times in a match, sooner or later, it makes the other person look stupid if they get hit by it 8 times. It's like, okay. Like, it's not a boxing move. Like, it looks ridiculous. And it just keeps happening over and over and over.
I kept imagining Aja Kong was like a punch out villain like Soda Popinski
Yes.
at some point.
I
And all
yeah,
Madusa had to do was hit her in the tummy.
in the tummy.
And she just would have went down.
Yeah. I have a bunch of notes that I didn't need. Basically, there's a couple wrestling spots that the crowd pops for because they're not boxing moves, and they're very. It's like one of those things where if you feed somebody like ramen 5 days in a row, and then you're like, here's a hamburger, they'll be like, oh my god, it's a hamburger, you know. But it's really, at the end of the day, it's just a hamburger. Madusa does an enziguri at one point, which the crowd goes crazy for. There's a few like. Great. Yeah, it did look good, but the problem was it's in the middle of this. There's like a leg grapevine and some other stuff. There were a few knees by Madusa. I was like, oh, don't stiff somebody with your fucking knees in the face. Christ almighty.
Well, you see, that's the thing. They started getting mad at each other towards the end of it.
I wonder why.
I cannot stress that this match type is designed to make you pissed off at the other person.
Yeah.
And so, like, the thing is, Aja, like, is essentially on the ground with her, face down on the ground in the in like an upright fetal position. And Madusa is so mad at this point that she starts jumping up and dropping knees on the back of her head.
Yep,
like,
I remember them.
Literal.
Yeah.
And it is rough. Mm-hmm. And, like, you could tell in the fourth, like, if we're going
fourth
on
round,
points, if we're going on points and everything,
Madusa won.
Like, Madusa won.
Assuming what she did was legal. I mean, if it was by boxing rules, she fucking got thrown out like 3 rounds in. Like, the shit was just over because
first 30 seconds because she gave rabbit punches.
Yeah, they just were doing all kinds of shit that you can't fucking do. But, okay, the only other note I have is Bull Nakano's at ringside, and it's been 2 months since the first part of the show that we watched, and she just has a different Guns N' Roses shirt. That's the only other note I have. Yeah.
Her Guns N' Roses shirt whips.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't give this thing a rating. It ends in a draw. And
yeah, no decision, split decision, whatever.
Yeah, you want to call it. No decision, and Madusa like wants to fight Bull, and it's weird and upsetting. Aja's nose is broken. Like she wanted to give up like probably 3 rounds in, and I mean, dog bless her, like she fucking stuck at it and took an ass beating.
Yeah.
And I mean, there towards the end, like, she just started getting legitimately mad and powering through all of Madusa's stuff and started hurting Madusa. Mm-hmm. And, like, Madusa was done as well. And you can tell both of them are like, why are we fucking doing this?
Yeah. I got the sense the momentum swings were worked and the knockouts, quote unquote, were worked. For the most part. But like it was basically like you'll have this many falls in this round, you'll have this many in this round, But the striking, it was not, it wasn't like they were calling. But there was the enziguri spot, that was basically it. Everything else was like not spots. So and by the way, neither of us speak Japanese. I mean, I speak very basic, but I couldn't understand anything they were saying. And we still both knew it was a split decision because that's how irritated everybody involved was. You could tell. It was like the announcement was made. Everybody looked pissed. I was like, okay, we get it.
No one's happy. Now, I will say, in the matches, well, quote unquote matches defense, this did get me very hyped up for them to defeat the real heel of this encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Giant Baba for fucking booking this match. I want him to get his little stick arms broke and them just kick his head into his really
like little crab legs
shaped chest.
Well, I had a hard time deciding because I did not rate the last match because it was not a wrestling match. It was not a match. This one, I decided I'd give it a rating in the same sense that like I would rate something like the fucking shitty Roddy Piper versus Mr. T thing.
Oh yeah.
Because there's spots and there was clearly like not on the level, so I gave it a 0.5. It was crap.
Yeah.
You don't need to watch it. It was really long as well, and pointless. And unless you want to watch, well, no. If you want to watch two women break each other's noses for no victor, then you need help. Seek help. Seek help.
It was upsetting.
Yeah, it was bad. So after this, another WWWA World Tag Championship match between Akira Hokuto and Suzuka Minami versus Yumiko Hata and Mitsuko Nishiwaki, who we've also already seen on the show. Now,
oh, here come the no seller, whirl a rap, the no sellingest gangster, whirl a rap.
Wow. That's amazing. The first note I have was, thank you, tag girls. Save us. Because at this point I felt like fucking Aja Kong. I was like, oh god, I've been beaten down. I was on such a high, and then I got beaten down by martial arts matches. Yeah. Now, and again, I was not as negative on Akira at this point as you were. So, and this match, actually, I did not
I had
notice as much. Yeah, okay,
Hokuto
good. I didn't
match.
notice anything. So maybe it just took a couple months. Maybe she has a problem with Mita. I don't know. Maybe she has a problem with Toyota. Ooh. But also, the other thing is, Nishiwaki doesn't take any shit. She's already proven that. And Hoda definitely doesn't take any shit. She will kick your fucking head in, so don't mess with her. Hoda puts down both of them, and Hoda and Akira square off, which already seems fun. And then I have 800 moves happen here.
Yeah. Real quick, did you notice who the referee is?
I thought it was Red Shoes.
It is Red Shoes.
Yeah, he's got the red shoes, and he looks cool.
Yeah.
I was like, that's Red Shoes. I know him. He's
he's handsome. He is.
Yeah,
like
he's
he
rugged.
is handsome nowadays, you know. But like back then, like that is a fucking heartthrob.
It's crazy though, because he didn't look that young. Like he looked kind of like my age or something, or a little younger maybe, but like he looked like an adult. But the thing is, he's still refereeing, and he still looks handsome. He's still got. It's crazy. It's like I guess he just never aged at all.
Yeah, he was born in '67, so at this
what
point,
the fuck?
It's 1990, so he's like what, 33? Yeah, he's 33 at this time.
So he's how old is he now? 51?
So it'd be like 54.
God damn. I can't believe he's that old. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He also has a son who is a wrestler who debuted for New Japan in 2017. I can't remember his name. But Red Shoes has a son.
Yano Tar. I don't think that's him. But that's cool. Red Shoes is great. I did notice him immediately because the red shoes are very noticeable. I was like, unless they all have red shoes, I'm pretty sure that's Red Shoes. But that would be like if like everybody in NXT had blue pants. You know, it'd really mess up the gimmick.
Hey,
remember that?
Yeah.
The old days. So 800 moves happen here. There's an enziguri, a deep backdrop, a pile driver, by Suzuka for a 1 count. Oof.
So last time we were talking about Joshi wrestling, we were like, God, they do this butterfly suplex slam as a transition move a lot. And in this show, they're
never
doing
did it.
pile drivers as the fucking transition move.
There was one of those butterflies in this show. It was during this match, but there was only one. They never did them outside of that.
Whenever it happened, I just started singing to myself. I was like,
No.
butterfly suplex slam, my old friend. I was like, oh, thank
Oh,
God, it's back.
okay.
It's back.
I thought you were going the crazy town direction. I was like, okay, thank you. Uh, yeah.
Who's crazy too?
Nobody. So, um, you look like you want me to answer, and I'm not going to answer. Okay. So, moving back to where I was in the match. Nishiwaki gets in. That's her name, Nishiwaki.
Yeah.
She gets in.
Real quick.
Uh-huh.
Did you notice what the tag name for Yumiko Hota and
I saw their
Mitsuko
names.
Nishiwaki
I didn't
was?
see the. I saw like their names on the gear. I didn't see the tag name. No.
Their tag name is the Fire Jets.
That's right, Fire Jets. It does say on the front. Okay.
That whips.
Fire Jets is a pretty good name. They should come out to Danger Zone though. So right. Nishi gets in and does a back elbow off the ropes into a body slam, into a leg drop, into a leg scissors. I'm like, oh god, she's working. And then there's a cut. I think this was a hard cam cut.
Yeah.
No, because Hota's suddenly working Suzuka, and I got confused.
I mean, it's hard to tell, but
yeah,
I mean,
there might have been a really quick tag and I missed it. Suzuka hits a gorgeous spinning backbreaker. I have a side note. Okay, so if you think of like the wrestling spot you get taught in wrestling school, like the sequence that you get, it's the one where like you Irish whip, you drop down, they run over you, you get up, you leapfrog. You know what I'm talking about? You see it in all the times it beginnings of matches. Okay, so I started because I saw them do this. And I don't think they got to the leapfrog, but the thing they do is they did that drop down, like you Irish whip them and then you drop onto your belly.
Yep.
Okay, is the idea that you're going to trip them when they come back? Okay, now my next question. Has any wrestler ever been tripped by this? Because, like it never... Really?
Samoa Joe has tripped people in that fashion.
Okay. All right. I'm for that. But it's just like,
so
I never see it work.
Yeah. You never.
It looks
see it
contrived due to that, but it's like that's just what you do because it never works. So it's like, okay. I believe Joe would pull it off though.
Well, yeah. I mean, Joe will do it nowadays, even from just a standing position. Whenever he's doing his flurry of offense, he'll just drop down and roll through someone to trip him over.
Oh, he rolls through. Okay, that's cool. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Because, like, if you've ever noticed whenever, like, that spot starts, like, they run towards them and drop down, like, real close to the ropes, and the idea is that as they're rebounding, they're going to trip and fall over. And, I mean, it rarely ever happens these days.
Yeah, I just had it here because I thought about it. I'm like, it's so contrived now because nobody ever trips. So
yeah, it's like people for the longest time going into the backdrop position, and there were no backdrops on the show for like 15 years.
Yeah, people just did that, and then they just get kicked or something.
So but if you notice, AEW's bringing it back. Body drops.
I like back body drops a lot. It's good for the smaller guys because they just get they go into the stratosphere. So I have another side note. Nishiwaki hits a powerbomb here, and I rewound this 5 times because I don't remember who took it. I want to say it was
it was Hokuto because I popped.
Okay. So what happened is she gets her in the powerbomb position with the head in between the legs, and she lifts her, and you're supposed to do like a curl up at the end to like sit upright practically, But she like flattens out like horizontally. And honestly, I had a real crisis of conscience here because and actually it was not, it could not have been Hokuto. And you know how I know? I know it wasn't Akira because
because she didn't immediately pop up?
well, no, because it was Suzuka. Because what happened was she took it and she put her fucking hands over her face, like she just like was gonna cry. Like she put her hands over her eyes while she took the pin. So I saw that and I was like, okay, that either fucking sucked to take, and therefore I'm kind of sad I watched it, or it fucking ruled. Because I saw it, I was like, it looked so fucking cool the way it was. Yeah. But I think it was like super dangerous. I didn't see her head bounce off the mat. Like it was not noticeable. It happened.
It wasn't bad. Like I didn't.
Okay. The thing is, Suzuka got up and just started working, and she wasn't selling like the same after that. So it's like, okay, I think she's totally fine. But like the way she sold it and the way I was like, Jesus, that looks sick. I just kept rewinding it. I was like, man, that looks good. She does another spinning backbreaker, so I'm pretty sure. Yeah, she just did a spinning backbreaker after that. So like, I think she's okay. But I knew that's how I knew it wasn't Hokuto, because Hokuto would have just sat there and looked at the fucking ceiling or looked at the camera like, yeah, it's took a power bomb, I guess. I don't know. There's no way I'm calling all the moves and tags in this match. Jesus Christ. And then I say this just as Nishiwaki gets a bridging German for the pin. And then I'm like, oh, it's 2 out of 3 again. Okay.
Yep, 2 out of 3 falls, I guess.
I guess the tag matches are 2 out of... I also I wasn't sure if it was like 2 out of 3 in the sense that it can be anybody, or if you need to specifically pin the other tag partner. I don't know. I don't remember who got what tags.
Just 2 out of 3 falls. Yeah, that's an established match type.
Yep. So they immediately work Suzuka over real Hoda with the fucking brutal kicks. I love her gear. She's got like the blue kick pads and the fucking.
Oh yeah.
It looks really cool.
Hokuto gets like tagged in, and I'm like, yes, vengeance is ours. Yes. And immediately doesn't sell anything, and then just full blast Mongolian chops Nishiwaki.
Ooh, I do have this. I have Nishiwaki does the sling blades. She does 2 sling blades, and then Akira starts screaming as she whips her to double slap. She does the Mongolians. That's what they are, and the missile drop kick. But for me, it was just like, she's fighting out. She started screaming, which is at least like, it's not selling. I guess it is kind of so. It's like, this sucks. I need to come. It's like a fighting spirit thing. I'm okay with it. Nishiwaki gets foot on the ropes, gets a pile driver for it. Yipes. Akira and Suzuka start doing the double stuff. They do double pile drivers and double missed elbow drops. And I'm like, they're pioneering this shit. They must have been watching the Rockers or something. Because I don't think that many people were doing like double synchronized moves at this point. What happened here? Nishi hits the missile drop kick on Suzuka while she's in the electric chair. Ouch.
Yep.
Suzuka gets a pin with the rollover bridging German, so we're even. I have another side note here. I'm now thinking, and I'm glad you brought him up earlier, I'm thinking that I would love for cranky old racist Jim Cornette to watch a Joshi match from 1990 so he could complain about the skinny spot monkeys getting their shit in. Because it's like there's psychology, but they basically do a million fucking spots, and the work rate is ludicrous. But this shit was happening with women in 1990, and this guy complains about it these days like it's killing wrestling. I'm like, dude, it would have been dead like fucking 30 years ago. Like, where were you? You were fucking working. Like, fuck off.
That's because Jim Cornette thinks like the height of everything is him versus fucking Baby Doll.
Yeah, you telling me this asshole never saw like the jumping bomb angels? Fuck off. Like, God, what an ass. Anyway,
no, he was tape trading, he was stealing shit. Like,
come on. It's just his brand these days. The girls in the crowd start going nuts, and I this is when I thought, I guess I was feeling very empathic at this point. It was like, Man, it would be really great to be a tiny little girl in the 1990s watching Japanese Joshi
Oh,
wrestling.
can you believe it? Just sitting there chanting fire jets with your friends.
Oh my gosh.
They're like, fire jets, fire jets, fire jets, just losing their
And you're
shit.
just part of this, like, see, I'm a big fan of like finding something that is so cool that's like just for you, that isn't like a huge amount of people are into it. It's like a special thing. That's the thing, is like, if you were watching this in the 90s, it wasn't fucking mainstream. It wasn't everywhere, but you knew it was fucking awesome and you got to watch it and be into it, and it's really cool. There's a bridging suplex Akira gives to Nishi here where they count 2, but her shoulders are clearly not down. Like, the camera is right on it, and Akira is like bridging her, but she's not bridging her right. Like, she has her up, where her neck's up and her shoulders are on top of hers. So really, Akira is on her shoulders are down. I was like, she's getting pinned. And then it was 2 and nothing came out of it. I just thought it was funny. Nobody keeps track of that stuff.
No, it's wild. Like, Red Shoes is just dancing everywhere in this match.
There's an incredible spot where Nishi goes for a clothesline on the ropes, but Suzuka ducks, tosses her out, and both Akira and Suzuka top rope plancha to the outside. Yep. I was like, holy shit. They got to 16 on the count out, and I really thought it was going to be a double count, because they're like 16, 17. Hoda's just kicking the shit out of Akira, I think. And I'm like, fuck, they're going to double count out, fuck. And immediately they go back to the ring, and Suzuka and Nishiwaki are just back in. I'm like, okay, thank God. The heels get double sharpshooters in, and then then the faces do double Germans, including the one. Okay, you should have popped here. The one Nishi gave to Akira was so nasty that Red Shoes couldn't even count it. Red Shoes looked at it and he was like, her shoulders ain't down. She fell on her fucking neck and fell over. Like, I cannot count it. And I was like,
it happened. It happened, and it was like getting the first bite out of like a fresh donut in the morning. It was like,
it was very good.
Oh, that's so good.
Hoda goes for the top rope elbow, but hits Nishiwaki. At this point, I put just never hold your opponent for your friend to hit them. In my opinion, just never do it. Ever. Just let them hang themselves. And actually, tell you what, if they hang themselves, you can come in and break it up, but don't hold them there. Like, it never works. I say this immediately. Akira goes for the top rope senton while Nishi is being held, and she just gets out of the way and she just whiffs and fucking biffs it. The cops are here. I'm being arrested.
Oh no!
It's okay.
You're being arrested for wrestle crimes.
I've been misogynistic and I'm being canceled. There's an awesome finishing. This is the end of the match. There's an awesome finishing sequence where Kira flips out of a powerbomb. Okay, Nishi gets her. She gets her up for the powerbomb. She flips out, gets fucking slapped in the face. Like, fuck you, you're going up for this powerbomb. And then she goes up again, flips out again, and she kind of just plants Nishi for the pin. She does the fucking, I don't know what it is, like not an X Factor, but
Nishiwaki like tries the alley-oop her, and of course Hokuto just straight up is like, no, I'm not taking that, and then just sits on her chest and wins.
That's right. She does like the leg press. Yeah, it's fine. It wasn't stiff, at least. Just jump on them. They fall back.
I'm ready for someone to just
it'll be a while
murder her.
And she got pretty fucking murdered in this. But she did not like.
Other than the Mongolian chops, which were a little bit excessive, everything else was fine. And she got dropped on her head in a German suplex.
Yes. So. And she ate shit on a senton, so and nobody caught her. So the tag champs win again. Did I even rate this? Yeah, I did. Fun match with crazy work rate, not as insane as the first one. But I still give it 3.75 out of 5. You might like it more, 3 3/4.
For me, this was a pretty good match. It was a lot shorter than the other one,
Yeah.
and was more about the wrestling. I just something about it didn't quite have me, even though I really like Nishiwaki.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was just 3 stars for me.
I think
Or,
the
or
baby
3 bull
faces.
roads.
I think the baby faces didn't get as much sympathy. That's not to say Akira should have beat the shit out of them, but I feel like they weren't as over, and they didn't get the crowd. They didn't get the crowd believing they were gonna win as hard. It was just kind of. It was more of a match that the champions had to have to win. So it was still good. But yeah, I like the other one more. And that
So,
was
like,
the show. Yeah.
yeah, like, so this show was interesting for me because, like, it had a lot of peaks and valleys, whereas the other
Yes.
show was just consistently good the whole time.
Yeah.
Even the like really green match wasn't like terrible. It was interesting to see.
Yeah.
Um,
Whereas this show
and this one,
had a the opposite of a creamy middle. It was like the ends were great, and the middle was woof. It's a shit sandwich, I guess.
oh yeah, God,
Yeah.
and like the thing is, this show revealed to me who, in the coming seasons of this television program, are going to be the real, like, bad guy villains in it.
Mm-hmm.
And first is, Hokuto. Awful, terrible villain. Cannot wait for her to get her comeuppance.
She's gonna work
Hopefully-
you into a shoot. It's this MJF thing. You're really gonna.
I want Mita to Randy Orton style show up at her house.
Oh no! Take a shit in her bag.
And then the second heel, which she's a mid boss. It's always satisfying to see the mid boss get beat because they get a lot of screen time. But the shadowy overlord figure of all of this that is just pulling the strings and the machinations. I am ready to see the downfall of Giant Baba like you wouldn't believe.
Now, I don't know the spoilers on this, but how long are you going to have to wait for that is the question. Like, is it going to be a while till Giant Baba gets destroyed? Or does he ever get destroyed?
See, I don't know, and that's the beauty of going back for these old shows.
I don't think Bull Nakano's going to give him the Angelito. I don't think it's going to happen, but maybe.
Shows up to his board meeting and just puts him in a rear naked choke for 30 minutes.
If anyone can do it, it's Bull Nakano. I believe in her.
Yeah, Bull Nakano, the unlikely anti-hero.
She's not the hero we need, but she's the one we deserve.
She is the one we deserve.
So, yeah, very good show. I mean, it was a good show.
So, yeah, it was a good show. It does not dissuade me, but it's also a good sign because we're not just watching good wrestling. Like, we are watching an actual, like, layered product that has a lot of different things for it going on. Like, we're getting to see, like, a little bit of, like, possible backstage heat going on. Sure, the mixed martial arts stuff is weird, but it's something different. And so, like, we're actually seeing, like, a variety show happening.
Yeah.
Which is the mark of a very good wrestling shows whenever you have, like, different spices going into the blend.
Yeah. And I would also say, like, I mean, not to compare everything to AEW, but, like, it's one of the things I like about AEW right now is, like, you get to watch people who have different styles of wrestling wrestle in those styles against each other and see what happens. So, if you say CM Punk's going to fight Matt Sydal, they don't have a Matt Sydal match. They don't have a CM Punk match. They have the match that they want to have to tell that story. with those styles.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And then the other thing is like all the young kids, like, and on this show, all the younger girls, they're already working crazy, and they do all this crazy stuff. But you also see them develop and work out who they are and their styles as we go. Like I don't even think like I mean we verified here like Akira is gonna completely change her gimmick and her style, and then well I mean she'll still do the same stuff. I'm sure we already know Manami Toyota completely changes. Even Bull hasn't completely worked everything out yet. I mean she's already awesome. That's the thing. All of them are already good, but like the fact that you get to watch them periodically get even better even though they're already good is just crazy. It's kind of like if I watch AEW, I watch somebody like Dante Martin, and that kid blows my mind, and he's just figuring out who he is. Like you give that kid 5 years, he could be just beyond where you could even imagine, or like MJF, you know, like I don't think he's anywhere near where he has potential to be at, and he's already amazing. So it's kind of the same here, you know.
Have not reached their peak yet.
No.
And I think we chose a very good time because in both the men and the women's promotion, we're seeing like, you know, them building up this promotion because, you know, unfortunately a lot of, you know, older quote unquote, women are like, you know, encouraged to retire at the hands of Baba Yaga. Giant fucking Baba Yaga over there, you know, being like, 25 is much too old for a lady to be wrestling. And then there he drags his fucking crypt keeper ass out there into the ring at like 70.
Yeah,
like, come on.
Well, the other thing is like, yeah, we picked a good time, but the other thing is like if we pick this time in America, it's kind of the opposite. Like WWF at this point, ooh, we're headed for bad places in the next couple years. And Hogan's got the vice grip on everything still, so it's all on the down slope. And then you get to like the new gen, and it's like woof, stuff is rough. And WCW is also just like, I mean, it wasn't the worst, but it ain't great either. They're you know, mucking around down there. So
yeah, they've got RoboCop.
Helping
them out.
Yeah, so just seeing.
And Kevin Sullivan hated sharing the book with RoboCop. You wouldn't believe the arguments.
Well, he's a great booker. That's why.
RoboCop can think through everything logically, you know. And Kevin Sullivan, though, he shoots from the heart. And so, you know, you combine them and you just get magic. But too bad they just couldn't get past their own differences.
Well, Kevin Sullivan wanted to put him in that cage. You can't cage RoboCop like that.
No, nobody puts RoboCop in a cage.
I think that's what he said at the show. So
nobody puts baby in the cage.
Yeah, but it's just great to see a company during the early 90s actually flourish and see what becomes of that. Whereas, you know, if we were watching anything else from 1990, it'd be like, oh no. Oh dear. So that's all for this show. Who is I can guess, but who is the Wild Pegasus of the week? Enemy of the podcast. We have our list. So you're not keeping track of this list, are I mean, we have it on file in the folder, you know.
Yeah. We pay our consultants to.
It's not on hand. It's in the office.
Yeah.
Do we want like a timely pick, or are we going based off, you know?
Well,
what happened this week?
This one's I don't know exactly with this, but it was a very funny tweet or a bad take that someone had, and let's see. Hold up, we might can probably cut this. I just want to bring this up.
Nope, all staying in. This is great. Yeah. This is great podcast / great video. We have the green screen. It's the Twitter feed scrolling through like.
Oh hell yeah!
Cat pictures, horrible takes about fucking Venezuela or whatever. Go on, yes.
So, there's this one, like, wrestling podcast conglomerate thing. It's like just a fucking dude. I won't even say their name, but he's like
You could figure
talking
it out.
about talking about the Minoru Suzuki match with Bryan Danielson, and this is his boneheaded, horrible take. He's like, completely off topic, but I've spoken about Bryce Remsburg subtly trying to steal heat on the show before, and you can see it in this match. No good ref thinks I need to be on camera in the middle of the frame.
Oh my god. Okay.
What a horrible fucking take.
Now, like, okay, I can name 3 refs in AEW. Okay, it's Aubrey, it's Bryce, and it's Knox. I don't remember his first name.
Rick Knox.
Oh, it's not Mike Knox.
Beard time.
5 to 10 or whatever. But 10:15. That's what it is. But yeah, those are the 3 I can name, and honestly, it's because those are the ones who have like character. But there's a difference. There's a difference between like being a ref with character and getting yourself over. There's a big difference. And it's very obvious, by the way. Like Earl Hebner had his moments where he did that. But like the thing is he knew when to play stuff up and when not to most of the time. And, you know, at the opposite end, Bill Alfonso, you know, has no fucking clue how to referee at all. He's at fucking WrestleMania 9 hopping over the fucking rope and fucking jumping around like a fucking wrestler. How are you supposed to watch Bob Backlund versus Racer Ramon? Come on. I'm trying to pay attention to the awesome wrestling happening. Bill Alfonso's jumping around. I don't even remember if that's the one he did. But yeah, like that's totally different. And you know, if a wrestler's doing spots all the time or something, but like the only things I remember Bryce doing in that match was looking at Bryan Danielson like he died, which is probably appropriate response.
Adds to the match.
What's he is he supposed to stand there stone faced? Like, I don't care.
In the corner.
That's even worse. You'd look at him and be like, why is he standing there like that? What the fuck? Like, if it's unnatural, it's worse. And then he tried to tell off Minoru Suzuki, and Suzuki did the spot with him, which is Suzuki's thing, not Bryce's. Like, that has not... And honestly, like, the real question is whether Suzuki was going to murder Bryce Remsburg in the ring. Like, I think that's what everybody thought was going to happen, so...
Yeah, because, I mean, the thing is, I've seen Suzuki in Japan do that spot where he'll, like, be doing something vicious and the ref's getting on to him, and he, like, takes the ref to the corner and, like, fixes their lapel and stuff. Yeah. I've seen him do that in Japan. That's, like,
it's fine.
Suzuki's thing. And, yeah, this chuckle fuck is just like, oh, I can't believe it. And the thing is that makes it terrible is the fact that, you know, it started gaining a little bit of traction, and then, you know, Bryce Remsburg, you know, commented on it and was like, you know, do you think, all Bryce said was, do you think that baseball umpires should call balls and strikes from the dugout? Which is a very valid question in this context, and now that guy is making this whole thing his entire personality.
Yeah, and there actually are really annoying people who want to do away with umpires and just have machines read the fucking strike zone, which is a terrible idea, by the way, because we've all established that shit does not. Like,
yeah, because immediately it's going to, like, see a ball or a strike and then start doing facial recognition software and start blowing away all of the black players on the field. Like, God, that's what it's going to do.
God damn it. Holy shit. Well, that's that's awful. That's also a really really smart take by Bryce, because if you think about it, essentially what he's saying, I mean, okay, kayfabe, what he's saying is he's saying you need a person to call the match. So he's keeping kayfabe because, as we all know, it's not fucking real. But so you really don't need anybody to call the match. It's all bullshit. But by that extension, what he's also saying is you're a fucking mark if you care about this, because it's not like he's subtly saying, how's a machine gonna call a fake match, you dumbass? Like, it's the whole point. Because guess what refs do most of the time in matches? They call predetermined pins. They get distracted. They miss cheating. Like, they're supposed to be incompetent. That is the point most of the time. Like,
yeah, that, and also, like,
you're a performer, for Christ's sake.
When you're playing to a live crowd,
yeah,
and not everyone has the greatest vantage point, like, usually you can pick out the referee because of the uniform.
Yeah.
And if the referee reacts to a move, like, you know, someone does a big body slam and the referee kind of, like, jumps with it, and, like, you know, winces, and, you know, they do it with their full body, you in the back can see that and go, oh, something big happened.
Yeah.
It is another thing for you to focus on. So if the referee is, like, posted up in the corner with a, I don't know, I guess dude just wants to see fucking sunglasses on him and just being like, yeah, whatever. He wants Orange Cassidy to referee all matches.
Which would be so distracting. It would be all you'd pay attention. It'd be like if there was a fucking mannequin in the match the whole time. You'd be like, what's that fucking mannequin doing there? I hope it doesn't fall over. Really weird that it's in the match when...
Yeah, it's like, do you remember back in the day whenever Ken Shamrock was a special guest referee for... And, like, he just sat there the whole time, like, you know, hunkered down and just, like, moving back and forth with his hands on his knees the whole time. Like, he did nothing, and then whenever, like, he'd go for a pin, he'd, like, kind of stumble down and then, like, act hesitant on the pin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the biggest special ref botches ever was fucking McFoley getting in the way of the fucking Shane McMahon spot at fucking WrestleMania X7, because fucking Shane McMahon's doing a coast-to-coast fucking Van Terminator on a trash can on Vince, and Mick just ambles in front of the fucking camera. Because he's not a referee, for Christ's sake. He's a wrestler. He's trained to be in the ring, but he doesn't know where he's supposed to be because it's not his fucking job. And that's the thing, is it's a subtle job. So, like, if you think it's like, oh, this isn't the right... Like, Bryce did two things in that whole fucking match, and one of them he didn't even do. And honestly, I didn't even think a lot of the audience would have even noticed he was looking at Danielson. So, like, yeah, it's silly. But, you know, Bryce doesn't care. He's got better things to worry about.
Yeah, I'm not saying, you know, that dude should be the Wild Pegasus for this week. It was just something interesting that I wanted to bring up.
I bet that dude's going off on the fucking... He's ready to watch Crown Jewel, I can tell you that.
Oh, God.
It's always the same fucking people. You know, like, the people that are like, AEW's women's division's so shallow and they don't have shit, and the women's division in WWE is so much better. Those are the same people watching the fucking Saudi shows. Fuck off. You don't care. Get the fuck out. Like,
well, also, I mean, the guy's literally like, oh, all these AEW snowflakes over here, the tolerant AEW people are telling me to go kill myself because of this take. And it's like, yes, I can't wait for you to make this your entire personality.
Whenever this comes out, because I'm sure there will be, I mean, assuming we have anybody who listens to it, which is, you know, the brave assumption. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get people who are like, these guys are paid for by AEW. Listen, I live in a New York apartment. I don't get paid by anybody. Okay, trust me.
Yeah,
I'm struggling.
I live in the hollers of fucking Tennessee.
I have 3 roommates at the moment. So the other thing is, like, I mean, you should know ahead of time. I watch AEW and I enjoy it most of the time. I mean, I have my problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't watch WWE. And I won't because
No.
they're fucking paid for with blood money and they're run by an absolutely insane, horrible person. Actually a series of horrible people. And they they treat their talent like shit. I love the talent. And if they leave, I will totally watch them have matches. And you know what? If I really need to watch a WWE show, I will gladly watch it without paying any money at all to probably make fun of it. But that's it. That's the extent of my involvement with their product. Take it or leave it. Sorry if you don't like it.
Yeah, sorry. AEW actually just has the better product. Like, am I going to be mad at someone for watching WWE? No, because
Feel
either
free.
you're a small child or you're a nostalgic 70-year-old who goes, wow, I wish I was a child watching wrestling again. And you know what? Bless you.
Mhm.
Dog bless you.
Unless it's the Saudi shit, you have no excuse for watching that shit.
Yeah, do not
None.
watch the Saudi shit. No,
Nobody
even
should watch that.
7-year-olds go, I don't want to watch the Blood Money show.
Oh, 7-year-olds aren't watching it. It's all the fucking 56 fucking year old dudes. Like, come on now. Because they don't care. You know.
That's
you'd think they would.
That's what's killing me about finding out the demographics of it is it's like, they have much more viewers than AEW. And then you find out that like 90% of the audience is people above like 60. I mean, this isn't anything to be like ageist or anything, but it's like, okay, you have to like grow your audience because we live in America, and if you're 60 years old in America and you have health insurance, like, count your fucking lucky stars because you might live to be 65 and finally retire.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be negative or sound like I'm being rude to those people, but they're all going to die horribly, and then they won't, they're going to get cancer and die, and they won't be able to watch the show anymore.
And then what will WWE do?
I'm angling to be the Wild Pegasus of the week, but
actually, you know who is the Wild Pegasus of the week?
Sure.
We finally sussed it out.
It's me.
That is the leadership, and I want to stress this, the leadership and the people in positions of power in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Guess what? Oh no. Getting a message on my computer already.
The CIA has heard your discussion.
Oh well, guess I better get this out pretty quick. If you are in a leadership position in Saudi Arabia, I hope that whenever you wake up to a nice sunny morning,
it's falling overhead. Go ahead. You can hear the drones incoming. Nice sunny morning. Have a great rest of your day, and glad you like the podcast so much. Supreme Commander, whatever your name is.
Supreme.
Am I allowed to call them that? No, I'm not.
Oh God, Great Protect. I don't know. Oh no, it's probably a prince though. Just say Your Highness. There are 400 princes over there. It's fine. And I hope that every single one of them wakes up to a.
I hope your Bitcoin wallet is very full today, sir. Enjoy your NFTs. You fucking weirdo.
See, my microphone keeps cutting out every time I start trying to say something, and then Bert is just... Yep.
W.
We
Chris
would love the double E in Saudi Arabia.
Sports entertainment.
The Wild Pegasus of the week is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's leadership. I hope they all have a real one. A real what? I won't say, but this is us, Burning Yammer, signing off.
Thanks for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.
Is that how you say it?